What's up, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. So, today we're going to be talking about understanding. There's two, actually. So, it's understanding parental grief and uh, understanding parental grief and understanding, uh, what's it called? Oh, and feeding the beast. Feeding the beast and understanding parental grief. Feeding the beast comes from this concept that Sir Grant Cardone put down in his book Be Obsessed or Be Average, and understanding grief, parental grief, uh, is a concept that I picked up with a little small ingredients from Jordan Peterson as well as my own life experience. Let's get into it. um, let's start with parental grief. Parental grief is something that is a default. It's a default of parenting. And I'm not a parent. The reason this topic came up is because, well, um, if you're going through, like, like, and I guess this is like a very specific scenario, but if you're going through, uh, where you're up to a point now in your life where you are, leaving and you're leaving the nest, right? And I can relate to this in a deep way where it's like I'm the youngest one, and once I leave, that's it. There's no more babies in the nest, and it can be like it can mess you up. It can mess you up if you don't understand this concept and don't move from a place of compassion. And if you move from a place of anger, that's not gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? So, and I guess how this is how you maneuver with it, right? How do you maneuver with the grief that these parents have? Because to a degree, it's grief and worry. They're worried about your ability to survive in the world, right? They're worried. They're worried ultimately, right? And in addition to that, there's grief. So there's going to be a little bit of anger. There's going to be a significant amount of anger, and it can come off as very sharp and can come off as very strong, right? And that's something that you kind of have to keep in the back of your mind when you're interacting with them. Is like, where is this even coming from? If you don't do that, if you don't understand that, you end up moving from a place of like anger yourself, right? And that's usually the worst. That's the worst thing to do. Where now you're angry at someone who's uh, it's one of it's you want the loop to go in a positive direction. And I know it's difficult, especially when it happens, when the person, when the parent comes to you and says, if you're the child and the parent comes to you and says, "Yo, you're this is wrong with you," and uh and all kinds of stuff. It's like, well, understand where it comes from. It's coming from a place of grief. It's coming from a place of worry, where it's like, can you even take care of yourself out there? That's really what's going on in their head. Is like, can you even take care of yourself out there? Um, and especially and it's such a conundrum because, well, think about it, and this has to do with the other topic that we're going to be talking about, feeding the beast, where it's like, well, you have to feed the beast because the beast is your goals. It's all the great things that you're doing for yourself in your life. Nonetheless, when you go ahead and you're going through this problem in your life, if you're going through all this stuff, that's gonna cloud you. That's gonna cause you to think and be like, oh man, I even like, like, one, can I even fulfill these things? Because think about it, the person's telling you, can you even take care of yourself? Constantly. That's all that's going through their mind. It's like, can you even take care of yourself? Are you capable of doing that? You know? And 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 so when that's being communicated, it's going to stir up a bit of doubt in your own self if you internalize that and you're not able to see this under, if you're not able to understand them and get to where they are. That's going to, it's going to mess you up and cause you to have low self-esteem. So it's good to move from a place where it's like, well, I have to understand what's going on here. I've got to understand what's going on here. I got to understand um who, what, why, like it's, and we can throw a third topic into this, which is like understand the negativity in your life, study the darkness in your life, right? Understand that, and you can go through that process by doing shadow work, and the shadow work looks a lot like, well, what is the most negative thing I would be saying to myself right now? And it looks dark, it looks dumb, it looks very stupid, and it's horrible. And you only really want to write a small amount of it because too much of it will mess you up. So you take that small amount of writing. Maybe it says, "Oh, you suck at doing this, you suck at doing that, you'll never be this or you'll never be that." And then you take that and then you add a level of truth. You need truth, right? And this is where you gain that clarity that you're seeking, right? Where you now say, okay, well, is this true? Because how you feel isn't, and very rarely is it the truth, right? How you feel is not, right? So let's go. Let's find the truth. What's the truth? The truth is this. This is the truth. This is the truth behind this situation and how it's going about. Now, granted, that's the process that I went through to understand this specific concept itself, where there were self-doubts. There were all kinds of things that I was telling myself that was the wrong message, and I was receiving that incorrectly, right? And and it's in studying that darkness in your life that you get those messages and you get to understand that stuff. So, nonetheless, um, we're gonna move on to the next topic, and it's very important. And I guess to a degree, you got to go about solving these problems in your life. You got to solve these problems in your life as soon as they come. Crush them as fast as possible. Crush them as fast as possible. Uh, Gain as much truth on it as you possibly can, um, and zoom out and just understand it for what it is. And this is a way where you're not negating the bad things that happen in your life. You're dissecting it. You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe that the negativity that comes into your life is the most positive thing in disguise. And that's very difficult to understand, especially when it's happening and it's going on to you. You have to dissect it as soon as possible so you don't begin to act on it. Right. I was gonna start, and a part of me, hold on. Ooh, excuse me. So for a while now, I feel like I've been personally like moving from a place of anger, right? And almost in spite of all the negativity that I was receiving from my parent. And that was, eventually I had enough, and it felt so badly. It felt like, wow, why am I can't be, moving like this. This is like I'm moving from a place of hate. And that's when you hit that. That's when you know you've gone far. It's like you now moving from anger and despite all kinds of bad stuff, right? It's not good. And so uh it's just understand it, comprehend it, study the darkness in your life. It's gonna bring you a lot more clarity towards the positivity in your life as well. We can move on to feeding the beast. So feeding the beast, like I said, is a concept that comes from the book Be Obsessed or Be Average. And that's a really good concept. Like, truthfully, if you ain't going after what you really do at 1,000%, you probably gonna end up like a diluted version of yourself. But there's a way to do this. If you're asking, oh, well, how do I do this? You have to do it in a way where it's like, well, and this is why it's called the beast. Well, what's something crazy you really want to do? What's something crazy? Like, truthfully. Personally, I want to learn how to fly. I've always wanted to go skydiving and stuff like that. So you gotta feed the beast. Like feed it with crazy shit that you just want to do, crazy stuff, And it's like just feed it with the craziest stuff you want to do. Like, where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? How much of this certain thing do you want? Where do you want it? And just create this insane life for yourself. And I have a little book of mine where I write and I actually feed my beast. I recommend getting one of these. And I leave it by my bedside right here. And if I'm studying, and also keep it in my pocket, which is like if I'm studying or if I'm going about my life, it's very important to have such thick uh a thick reality and understanding of all the things that you really, really like, the things that drive you and give you such a strong pull towards your the things that you want in life. And the more you have that, the less of the small little inconveniences you'll have in your life. And to a degree, it'll be the powerhouse that breaks through it. You understand? It'll be like it'll just overtake it. And part and partially you'll be like, man, if well, granted, let's say in this scenario, it was I have great relationships in my life. Great relationships. Now what that's gonna say is, well, shoot, if we have great relationships in our life, let's say a small inconvenience comes from one of your relationships, you'll be able to break right through that. No problem, because there's such a strong pull in that direction that you're just like, yo, I'm ready to really take this thing on and just and you'll just break through it. But if you don't have that, if you don't have that strong pull, uh ultimately these little things they'll become way bigger than necessary. They'll take up way more time than they actually have to. So it's very important to stay focused. And feeding the beast, that's a concept you can use towards integrating a higher level of devotion for your life. I talk a lot about devotion here because it's incredible and it changes the way that we think about discipline overall. Devotion is it's it completely it reconfigures where you're coming from. It reconfigures it where it's like, and this is by default, which I think a lot of us have, which is like we ultimately all really want to be better at the end of the day. You want to succeed, you want to do things better, you want to actually um, you want better things for yourself in your life, right? And that's I think that's a default that we do have. Um, I know contrary to like, like the mental health kind of community where you do have people who do fall into like nihilism, so stuff like that. Um, I'm really coming at this from a place where it's like, no, I think there's something innate in each and every single one of us that wants to do better and wants to devote to our well-being or wants to devote towards doing better. And it's in, and doesn't, if there's anything that is stating otherwise, is probably some form of distraction or a clue as to where your shadow might be, right? Because if there's something that's not saying, oh, you clearly want to be better, then it's like, well, that's messing with you, right? Uh, so that's something that you can also use. Um, and in addition to that, well, you have your vision, which is part of your purpose and your calling, and you can kind of forge those things together as well. Uh, hmm, what time is it right now? It's like 9 o'clock. Um, 9 a.m. by the way. Yeah. So, um, yeah, and It's like I said, very important to constantly work on your vision. Um, and part of working on your vision is understanding the craziest of things that you really want to do. That way you don't end up growing the you don't end up growing the improper things in your life with your attention, because your focus is very important. So the way to constantly keep yourself focused is to write down those crazy goals, right? Write down that crazy stuff that you really want to do and go after that 1,000%, you know. Um, real talk, real talk. As always, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it for you getting this far in the episode. Uh, yeah, looking to support. There's a link down below to the vote. It is the most stylish, softest, beautiful sweater designed by me, an artist. I've what else? Yeah, it's soft. It's amazing. Um, I'll leave a link down below to that. Uh, the mentorship, calling, purpose. Um, we spoke about vision here today, so that's incredibly important to go after your vision and chase that shit completely. Um, yeah, the link will be down below to that. And lastly, a link to the newsletter will also be there. Stay updated with all new stuff that's going on. And if you got anything from this episode, please leave a like so that it can get to other people like us. Thank you.